I'm Andrew Hyland. I'm the chair of the Department of Health Behavior here at Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. And under our group, we run the tobacco control programs for Roswell Park. Secondhand smoke exposure is a major exposure that causes disease. Estimates are between 40 and 60,000 people every year die from secondhand smoke. So it's an incredibly potent toxin. And the thing that makes it so insidious is that these are generally non-smokers that have never smoked, that are doing the right thing, but are exposed to other people's secondhand smoke and putting them at disease risk. So when you look at lung cancer rates, certainly cigarette smoking is by far the largest risk factor. Perhaps 85% of all lung cancers are caused by cigarette smoking. But in those non-smokers that get lung cancer, secondhand smoke is perhaps the largest risk factor. But secondhand smoke is entirely preventable with something as simple as just making your home smoke-free. Secondhand smoke is a Class A carcinogen. There is no safe level of secondhand smoke exposure. Okay, so any exposure increases your risk. Kids are vulnerable, particularly vulnerable. Kids are small. And they tend to respirate, they breathe more. So they're breathing in more air and getting basically a higher concentrated dose of those toxins that are there. And again, all entirely preventable by reducing or eliminating one's risk of secondhand smoke. So in addition though to those childhood exposures, we do see adults that are exposed are at higher risk for developing other diseases. In particular, heart disease is probably the largest killer from secondhand smoke, but also lung cancer. So those health effects span both among kids, where they're particularly sensitive to the toxins in there, but also in the older adult population. People ask, what about that secondhand vapor that comes off of those e-cigarette products? And this is a complicated issue. Generally, vaping products have lower levels of toxins than conventional cigarettes. So if you burn something, that's where the toxins come from. So cigarettes, you burn cigarettes, there are thousands of toxins. They're incredibly dirty nicotine delivery system. E-cigarettes don't burn the product. They kind of just raise the temperature of that liquid enough so that the nicotine turns into a gas and you breathe that in. So there are toxins in e-cigarette emissions, but they are at generally lower levels. There are fewer toxins and at lower concentrations. So what does that mean? Is e-cigarette vapor safe? I would say no. To the best of our knowledge in the science, that it's not safe. It may be less toxic than cigarette smoke, but that is such a dirty delivery system that that's not necessarily saying a lot. What happens if you quit smoking or if you reduce your exposures to secondhand smoke? And absolutely, your risk begins to diminish right away as soon as those exposures are reduced or eliminated. Now it takes time though. Those toxins do damage to the lungs, so it takes a while for them to heal. The studies show that after maybe 5 years or so, your risk of lung cancer begins to approach that of a non-smoker. It never quite makes it to the low risk that a non-smoker has. The forward way of looking at it is it's never too late to reduce your exposure to toxins. And the simplest thing you can do to try to minimize your exposure and your risk is to make your home and your personal spaces smoke-free.